Maybe you said?
When we first showed up, when we put our sensors on Keating, it was just kind of shock to see all the amount of flames and the smoke, and then to see that amount of personnel, that were running outside of their wire. It was just shock when we first showed up.
Why do you think that you were targeted on that specific day? Are there any indications now as to what it was that triggered it?
I don't think so. I think they had set a day probably a couple months before. And I think they took their time in planning this attack. It was a very well-planned, deliberate attack. So I think they had just set a day. This is when we're going to do the attack, and then just planned up to it.
Some media has suggested that you were, you didn't have enough weapons, you didn't have enough troops, you didn't have enough support. How do you feel about that?
I disagree with that completely. Like I said, we had fixed wing 20 minutes after the fight started. We had helicopters 20 minutes later. So 40 minutes into the fight, we have 2 different air assets on hand. And I was talking to these guys earlier. We were kind of talking about how there were so many different assets up in the air that they were basically to a 1,000-foot window that they had to stay between because they were stacked on so many different levels. So we had everything we needed. It was just a big attack with a lot of people. Bad things happen, but I think that we did well for the circumstances.
We only have a couple questions, so do you have more, Brendan? I'll keep going. Tell me about, a lot of men were injured.
Yes, ma'am.
Initially, I know that some refused to be medevaced because they wanted to stay and fight. Others were obviously too severely injured and they couldn't make that decision for themselves. But were they all put together, or were people still spread out? Or tell me how that worked.
When guys got injured, they initially when we started taking more injuries, we had to push some of them over to the TOC, the Operations Center, to make room for some new guys in the aid station. We let our PA, our doc, basically assess it on the ground. If he thought the guy was good to go, then if he was willing, we let him back in the fight. If he said this guy needs to stay in, then we would, we'd keep him inside.
Is here you are, you're in the fight, they're in the fight on the ground, and you're talking to them on the radio. When you hear somebody on the radio, I mean, when you heard them, what were your impressions of them?
My initial impressions were, unfortunately, we came over the hill and first tried to call them, and we got no response, is that everybody was gone. And then when they finally came up on the radio, I will have to admit that in the entire 10 hours that we flew, I never heard one of them lose their cool on the radio. They were very calm, very collected. We could tell that everything around them was going to hell, and we could hear it in their microphones. We could hear the guns going off. So we knew that it was a pretty intense situation that they were facing. But what came together was air-ground integration. When all the training that we've done before deploying here, it really clicked that day. We were able to rapidly orient based on our knowledge of the areas. We've been there several times, and to their reference points, and then they knew how to talk to us to get us onto the targets that they wanted. So once we started realizing that the guys on the ground knew what they needed to tell us to get the job done, it made things much easier.
Chief Bardwell, Chief Llewellyn talked about the calm that they had in their voice, but I mean, somebody with your level of experience, you've seen a lot of leaders and things like that. What is it that makes somebody with just 2 years of experience or just 2 months of experience in their job? What is it that makes them be calm and so cool under pressure like that?
To be honest, I don't know how they kept their composure like they did. I mean, it was talking to them on the radio was just like any other day when we were just going through and just checking in with them as we're flying by, and I really don't know how they kept it like that. With all the fire and the amount of people that they had, and the state of the COP, it was very. I was very impressed at just how cool and calm and collected they stayed the entire day. They never once did they lose it, start yelling, screaming, or anything. They just kept their composure the entire day, and I was just very impressed. I really don't know how they kept it together like that.
Sergeant Suter, you're the junior soldier here, and from what the pilots say, you kept it cool. And I mean, what was it that was foremost in your mind when you were talking on the radio and you knew that you had to do your job? What was the thing that really kept you going?
Well, I knew if I were to get flustered on the radio, if I started breaking transmissions, they wouldn't be able to understand exactly what needed to be done. I knew I had to be clear, concise, and to the point, and let them know exactly what the situation was so we can achieve a common goal.
Lieutenant Schroed, you were one of the senior people on the ground there. Are you the senior person that was on the ground?
Yes, sir. Myself and Lieutenant Bunnerman.
Okay, you're the senior person on the ground there. What was it? I mean, how you felt about your guys, but what was it that were you thinking, hey, I'm the senior guy on the ground, and it's going to be up to me to lead these guys? Tell me a little bit about what that's like.
I mean, that didn't really run through my head. My thought process was, what do I need to do to repel this attack? What do I need to do to get us through this day? And I think just the way we worked as a team inside the operations center, everyone had a piece to play. We all played that piece, and just were able to put it together. I think our training and also the smaller takes we'd been in the past kind of prepared us for the large attack, because we had seen it before. We had seen contact, so it allowed us to stay calm and accomplish the mission.
What is a tactical operations center like? What is it at a troop level, or company size level, troop level? What is it like? I mean, what does it look like? Who's in it?
Who's in it is basically the indirect asset piece, the air asset piece, as well as someone who can maneuver the guys on the ground. What it looks like is we're getting reports from the guys out fighting the fight, the ones actually out shooting the guns. They're saying, they're giving us reports. We got guys here. We're pinned down here. And then basically it's our job to work up a plan pretty much instantaneously on how we're going to maneuver the guys around to support other guys that maybe need support, or how we're going to control the fight to get it in our advantage to get the victory.
When you're pulling out of the COP, you just pack up all your gear, and did you raise the last building, or what do you have to, anything you have to do to shut it down? They just pull you out of there.
We basically set it up so anything that could be used by the enemy, we make sure we take that out. We get all of our equipment that we can take out, and we take that out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really the gist of it.
How long did it take for you guys to get out of there?
I want to say 3 days. Let's see, Saturday, 3 days.
Was it hard to leave? It's been your home for 4.5 months, 2 months,
It's hard to leave because anywhere you stay for an extended amount of time, where you've lost friends, you've lost brothers, it's hard to leave because you're kind of leaving that guy's spirit behind as well. So it's tough, but at the same time, we're excited for what they have in store for us next, whatever that may be.
Just a point of clarification, you in that time when you were holed up in that last building, it was the talk in which you were held up for that?
It was the new talk, the makeshift talk. The first operations center was one that caught on fire, okay. And when that building caught on fire, we had to move over to Red Platoon's barracks, where we established kind of a makeshift talk, as well as most of the guys slept out of.